Hello, everybody. My name is Ricardo Cabrera. I am with the Latino Chamber of Commerce of Boulder County. And today we have Marinela with us. She is a life coach for a company called Intrepid Connections. Hi, Marinela. Welcome.
Hi, Ricardo. Thank you. And thank you for having me here today.
Excellent. Before we start, I would like to share a few words with everybody here. Um, I would like to share that the Latino Chamber, as well as this whole community, is saddened by the recent violence in the city of Boulder. As partners and collaborators in this county, city, and community, we share in our successes and we also grieve together in difficult times. Today, the Latino Chamber extends its sincere condolences to all the families, friends, and colleagues of the victims of this terrible tragedy. Um, and I'll let you know that in the next few days, weeks, and months ahead, we will be seeking to support Boulder businesses, to support our partners and the local community in any way we can. I'd like to take just a moment of silence so we can remember the 10 victims of this tragedy in King Soopers in the city of Boulder. Okay, thank you for that. Uh, Marinela, welcome. Today, as a life coach and a psychologist, I know you've been doing this for a long time. Let's explore a little bit about what happened, our feelings, and how we can process this. And let's start by knowing that you're a neighbor. I mean, you live two or three blocks away from that King Soopers. Tell me what went through your mind. What are you feeling?
Well, I think, thank you again, Ricardo, for having me today. I think it's, like you say, it's a tragedy, and I joined you, to give the condolences to all the victims, families, and friends. And I think this is, like you say, it's a tragedy. For me as a neighbor, also, the beginning, it was a sense of disbelief. We live here in a community that is known for their beauty, everything that we know about Boulder is about fun and happiness and things like that. And I think when you confront a situation like this, is the first feeling was disbelief. And for me also, it was a sense of I am not safe here. My family is not safe here. That could happen anytime, anywhere. No, and I think now is a profound sadness for the loss, not only the loss of life, but the loss of trust in a place that we consider home, and that we came here looking also for this peaceful feeling, to be able to go with your life and not to worry about so much violence that we left behind, no?
Yes, of course. I'm talking about the theme of violence. I mean, there's violence everywhere in the world, of course. I mean, I come from Mexico, you come from Venezuela, but if you think about other countries like, Brazil and Central America or the Caribbean, I mean, we all grew up, especially in an environment of violence. I mean, I remember my grandparents and my parents always saying, don't go out at night because, a violent theme. You know, uh, it's common that, when you walk down the street, I mean, at least me, and I experienced this when I first came to the US, I always knew who was walking behind me, who was walking next to me. And, I know my wife always keeps still now, all her belongings close, the cell phone is hidden because of the possibility of a random act of violence.
Yeah.
How is that different? Is that different, or is that similar to what we're experiencing here on this, you know, uh, random act of violence?
Yeah, I think, well, like you say, I also experienced that, coming from a country that, we know that has a lot of violence situations and issues, no? I think the different, well, violence is violence. I want to say that, and we cannot exactly compare because it's more about the impact that the violence has in individuals and community.
Mhm.
But one thing that I can think about is that when we are in our countries, it's like the level of violence is part of your life. I mean, it's not something that we can justify, but it's like that something could happen if you don't take precautions. Like, for example, you avoid some places, maybe you avoid to go out some time of the day. I mean, if you go out with you, maybe you don't go out by yourself. I mean, you try to create some kind of measurements that help you to be safe, no? But you are aware that that could happen. That could happen and could happen in the daily basis. When you move here, when you are here in general, you start, letting that go little by little because you realize, okay, this is not part of the daily life. It could happen definitely, but it's not something that you have to worry so much every single day of your life, every single minute of your day. For example, I let my kids to take the bus here and go to downtown and maybe move around the city by themselves. Maybe I would think about it twice to do that in Venezuela, for example. No, I think that is the thing that in our countries, most of the time, that is part of our daily life. And here, it's not that it doesn't happen, but you don't think that something that happened 2 days ago could happen. We are not never prepared for violence, but never ever prepared for these kinds of events. And I think also is when you move from especially as immigrants, we are looking for that sense of safety and the safe of relief and less stress, at least in the daily life. And these kinds of event, and I think that happened to a lot of us, this past 2 days has been like for us, remembering maybe situation that we had in the past that we didn't feel safe, or actually we were the victims of violence directly, And I think that is part of the trauma that we carry when we grew up in general, but when we grew up in situations or in countries or in towns where the violence is really part of everything, no? And I think right now we have to make sure that people understand that that is totally okay and normal to have these reactions, even if you were not there physically. Because I was 3 blocks away, and maybe somebody that live in Denver, an immigrant that came to this country, fluent or trying to avoid the violence in their countries. Maybe they have a thought about or nightmare or whatever about what is they are seeing in the news, but it's not so much about what is actually happening, but it's a lot related to the past trauma. And I want to say that the people, we have to recognize that, to validate that, and to understand that that is the way that we can feel when we are, in these kind of situations.
Yeah, wow. So I mean, so that's important what you are saying right now, Marinela. I mean, I heard some of the stages of grief. So I heard some people may feel angry, some people may feel in denial, or maybe some people, are making deals, right? I mean, all the stages of grief. We won't go through them right now, but what do you think about that? I mean, how can we start preparing or getting ourselves through this right now? I mean, this just happened 2 days ago, so it can't be that fast. But what do you think? What's your thought on that?
Well, I think one thing that we have to maybe to recognize that we need time to heal, and also that this is not something that we are going to forget or to get over of. It's more about how we can process that. And the first step for me, at least, and the recommendation that I can give to everybody else is that, to validate your feelings, to know that this is real for you, and I am pretty sure for your kids and your family that you feel afraid, or you feel like that, you cannot sleep, or whatever it is that you are feeling, you have to validate that. And this time, specifically these few days, first days after this tragedy, I think it's a time for take care of yourself. I mean, to create, rituals or spaces where you can feel that you are connected with the people that you love. You take time to recharge, to do whatever you need in order to move move forward, no, move on with this. But it will take time. And I think the first step, like I said, is to, to recognize that you are feeling the way that you are feeling. For sure, I think a lot of people right now also are angry. No, I think that is the common thing. Not angry only for the thing that happened, but trying to blame or looking for, reasons or for people or processes that we have to blame, like gun control or all these things. I think angry is going to be part of that for sure. And that is also an emotion, and how we are going to manage that is also good, because I mean, it's going to be healthy to recognize that. And maybe sometime, fortunately, this kind of thing happen for good. I mean, like maybe something is coming up from this tragedy. It has to. I mean, we have to make changes, and as a community, we have to heal first. But I think coming back to individuals and families, I will say, right now, try to take care of yourself. Try to be with the people that you love. Try to listen, not try, listen to your feelings and also to your kids' feelings. Validate that. Make sure that you don't overdo it in terms of news. I mean, don't try to absorb or try to find why this happened, and watch all the single news that is out there. I think it's important to to talk about it, to talk about with your kids, see where are they, and maybe meet them where they are. We don't have to go beyond that. Maybe right now it's more about creating some sense of, okay, we are safe. We cannot promise that everything is going to be okay or everything is going to be safe, because we don't have the control over that. But we can create ways for our kids and our families to start getting back to normal, whatever normal it is. No?
And that is so important, the idea of talking to kids. They don't have the same processing power adults have, and they need to hear and get support from the adults so they can. You're not saying that we should lie to them. We're not saying that we shouldn't tell what the truth or not the truth is, or try to deny it. More to help them understand that these things happen, that we cannot be afraid. We have to keep going.
Mhm.
And things of that sort, so they can, put reason to the tragedy that is everywhere. And you're right. I mean, information overload is, in tragedies like this, it's always the case, and it's always a good advice to say, turn the phone off,
Yeah.
turn the TV off, let things settle before you start making opinions. Like they say, don't write a letter when you're angry. Well,
Yeah,
go do
exactly.
other things when you're angry, or mourning. I mean, because we are mourning, that also is a process.
Mhm.
um, so tell me more a little bit about, what should we do as individuals? I mean, I know Boulder Valley School District is going to be sending information about how to talk to kids, maybe something about how to talk to adults, and maybe adults talking to adults or seeking help. Is that something that you would recommend?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think we don't have to go through this alone. I think we have to heal not only as a individuals, but also as a community. And I think right now, if anybody's listening to us, I think it's important to look for the resources that we have in the community, because this could be a long process. No, they can bring a lot of things that maybe we are not prepared for, but we have the professionals in the community. I think another thing, Ricardo, that we have to start thinking about is our kids. Well, this has been, it's not a secret, this has been a really stressful year. And finally, our kids, especially well in Boulder County, actually in the district of Boulder District, School District, are coming back to school 4 days a week next week.
Mm-hmm.
This tragedy, this event is going to add another layer of fear in our community, because we had the pandemic, and all the thing that we know, and now we have this, and the safety is shaking. No, I
Mm-hmm.
think it's important to prepare our kids to go back to school, and also maybe share some statistics around the this kind of situation are rare. I mean, unfortunately, it happened to us in our backyard and in front of us. But I think it's important to, to give kids some tools to go through their day. And actually, sometimes I have to mention to some kids, they are acting like nothing happened. That is another way to react too. Like, oh, I am fine. And don't try to insist that they shouldn't be fine. I think the kids, they show their emotion differently than adults. I think we have to pay attention to create some a sense of safety, to create some, like, maybe even codes, like, if your child is having a hard time, maybe, talk with the counselor at school and make sure that this guy or this child has the space to do that. But I think right now is to make sure that also that we don't pass along our own fears as an adult, and try to talk about and create as a family some rules, norms, or guidelines to feel safe, at least.
Yeah, and maybe come up with some strategies of what to do in case of. And we can make that a topic of another conversation, because there is so much that's going to come out of this, and we're going to be here to help you guys. I think overall, all I heard, as all the things that we talked about today, I hear from you that we should strive to live in the now, that we should realize that there are things that are out of our control, accept our feelings, and not get stuck. Let's keep going with our lives as usual, because that's the best thing we can do for ourselves and for our community. So with that, thank you, Marinela, for your experience, for your comments, and let's do this again.
Okay, thank you so much, Ricardo, for having me, and for sure, we will continue talking.
Excellent. Thank you, and until next time.